Hi, my name is Yolanda Castillo, and this is my presentation for Theories of Learning and Teaching class. And for my myth, I pick a pre-testing or a practice test before the exam. Now, according to Carey on a How We Learn book, he say that the word test itself has a negative connotation, not just with the students, but also with the teachers. And I cannot agree with him. Once we mention a test or some sort of examination, the students are kind of freaked out a little bit. Now, in an article that I read called Improving Student Learnings, it suggests that sometimes us as teachers don't really have the time to give some effective learning techniques to our students. Again, sometimes it's a time constraint, sometimes it's that we don't know about them. And in this particular case, we're talking about the pre-testing technique. And I know our curriculum might be full, so we don't really spend so much time on those techniques. Now, one thing we need to do is we need to stop telling our students to study, because studying doesn't mean that you're actually retaining or are learning the concept itself. So we need to kind of look for a different way, and in this case that pre-testing will be a different technique approach for our students to retain and learn the concepts needed. Now, what is pre-testing, you will ask, and I'll say, well, pre-testing is a permutation of the testing effect, and it actually has a lot of benefits to it. So we're going to go into that. It has a desirable difficulty. What that means is that we try to retrieve some information, and that's going to make it, as it goes, make it harder. We're going to be able to retain more information, and that's one's a way of learning, I guess you can say that. It attacks the fluency illusion of that if we are studying, we're retaining the material. It doesn't necessarily means that we can study as many weeks, days, hours as you want, and if we feel confidence, that means we actually learning. Well, it doesn't, right? So we want to be careful about that. Simply memorization. As you get the correct answer, you kind of memorize that. Now you don't have as many choices as other tests might have. So that pre-test, it kind of gives you the confidence of knowing what the right answer is. Now, us as teachers, we have to be careful with this. We had to give that prompt feedback to the students right away, so they have or they know the right answer before the exam, right? Because once they get that exam, the actual exam, we want to make sure they achieve the highest grade, not just by memorizing, but by actually holding that information in. Now, what that gives to the students is kind of a glimpse of the teacher's hands. How hard is going to be the test, what information is going to be in the test, so it kind of helps them on that learning process as well. Now, we know that pre-testing promotes effective in subsequent studying, so that actually helps the students as well. Now, it minimizes the fluency trap of bad testing. Am I a bad tester just because I get low test grades? Well, that doesn't really mean you're a bad tester. It just means you're not really holding that learning or the concepts down, right? So we have to change our thinking of approaching. Now, in my own experience, I have done pre-testing with my students. I teach at a community college, so I can say that how I use pre-testing is basically in groups. I like to know that my students know how to teach those concepts to other students as well. Now, that is the key to know if the students are really learning those concepts, right? If you can teach it to somebody else and that somebody else is learning, you know you have learned the material. Now, what this is beneficial is for those students that know the material, but also for the other students, because you're not getting the feedback from your professor or your teacher, you're actually getting from another classmate, which it builds your confidence as well, right? So we want to make sure we give our students the tools and we help them to succeed in all those areas, right? So I really recommend pre-testing if you can apply it in your classroom or in any other concepts. Thank you so much and have a great day.